war has started. And we are hopelessly outgunned.
Director Fury, I think it's time.
I mean, I think this is the coolest cast ever. I think this would be kind of fun. If you could just drop this cast into a classic film and have that cast interact with that classic cast, what would be a fun movie to do?
The Color Purple.
Yeah.
Why not?
You nailed it.
Why
That's
not?
genius.
I like that.
That's
Just be
incredible.
fabulous. What's that story
I'm not
all about?
even gonna try and touch that one.
What's that story all about, right? I know.
That would change the whole. That would.
I know.
That
It'd
would.
be too bizarre.
Anyone for you?
I don't even know if I could even if I could even touch that
Like
one.
13 going on 30 would be fun.
That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, like Hulk would be having a good time
Yeah,
there, I
he
think.
would. Because Hulk doing the Thriller dance.
Yes.
That would be
Dude,
good.
that would be epic.
What about
Eternal
something
Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, why not?
That shit would get crazy.
Dude.
Crazy. Yeah,
Oh.
some like Charlie Cow. Yeah, that would
That'd be like a Charlie. Oh my God.
Any classic film of all time and have them interact with that cast, who would it be and why?
Dirty Dozen.
The Goonies.
Yeah, dude, the Goonies would be awesome.
Damn, I should have said that.
Each other.
Amazing.
How would that? What movie would you want to do it with?
Instinctively, I've literally just bubbled up to the front of my brain. The Great Escape.
Yes, that would be
That
awesome.
would be amazing. Like you could have. I think maybe like who would be like maybe Chris Evans would be Steve McQueen, and I could play Richard Attenborough.
Yes.
And like Mark Ruffalo could be Charles Bronson. And or maybe no, Chris Hemsworth would be Charles Bronson because he's the biggest.
Yeah.
Who would Scarlett be? I don't know. I'd love to see someone would be Robert Downey Jr. would be James Garner, you know, and Clark Gregg could be Donald Pleasance, you know, he goes blind and he does all the forgery. This is an amazing idea.
Yeah, we should
We
do
have
it.
to remake The Great Escape with the cast of the Avengers.
Can we get Joss on the phone right now?
Let's call him
I'll
right
produce
now.
it.
Incredible idea.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm totally in.
Yeah.
All right.
And Tom, Dick, and Harry, the three tunnels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be epic.
Why do you call them Mall in Scotland? A mall.
Don't be.
That's kind of weird. Maybe, Magnificent Seven.
That's interesting. I put him either in The Dirty Dozen or All About Eve.
Yeah. All About Eve would be amazing.
Yeah.
Hiddleston said The Great Escape.
That's a good one.
We said we would need to make this movie immediately.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But I'd just like to see these guys try and take on George Sanders when he's being really biting.
You here with a mission, sir? Trying to get me back in the world?
Trying to save it.
Doctor, we need you to come in.
What if I say no?
I'll persuade you.
As the Hulk, are you doing mocap? Are you doing performance capture?
We did everything. Everything you see the Hulk doing here, I did in a mocap suit.
What about like the flying around and crawling
Yeah,
on
and
stuff?
standing
I had
Iron
to do
Man.
jumping and all this, and all the smashing, yes, I had to do every sequence,
That's
even when I was
cool.
flying.
It was so badass. You know, I love.
But I didn't get to fly though.
you
I had
get
to
to
They didn't
stand
put you
there and
on. They
pretend
didn't
like
put
I
you
was
on.
flying.
I'll come in and fly for you from now on.
Oh,
Is that cool?
yes, I'd
All right,
love
It's not. It's kind of more painful than you
Yeah.
want it to be, actually.
It's a little.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of
some
like
stress.
there's a lot of stress pressure situation
And-
happening.
I can handle it for you.
All I know is that you might want to freeze
He'll
some.
do it.
You might want to freeze some
Yeah.
sperm before you go,
Yeah.
because you'll probably.
Good idea.
You'll never feel pleasure again.
Free
after
it?
you
Yeah, freeze it.
Freeze
Freeze
it.
it. And it's, what?
free your sperm.
Free your
I was like, what did you just say? Oh no, you didn't.
Oh, you got it.
What are you asking me to do? It's called the Avengers Initiative.
Love the line that you have where you say freedom is life's greatest lie. And like, because we kind of all are eventually going to be ruled by something in our lives.
Yeah.
And I was, as an actor, I mean, like, obviously you're a free guy. You can choose what you want to do. But do you feel like you're ever ruled in this business to take certain roles by, like, agents, directors? Do you ever find that?
That's an amazing question, man. I mean, I've never been asked that. It's funny because at the beginning of any actor's career, like, people are trying to work out who you are in a strange way. They're like, well, who are you? As in, what kind of human being are you as an actor? So then we know where to put you. And what sometimes that they don't take into account is that everyone has a much greater capacity a much broader range than they at first realize. And that was the thing that it's been interesting to to manage and to watch, is that people's perception of who I am changes with everything I do. And sometimes my own perception of myself changes. It's a weird thing, this business of identity in any life as an actor. Like, you can think like, oh, that's the actor who does the action movies, or that's the actor who does the independent films. And I think the most exciting thing is when people can like explode expectations. You know, suddenly an actor comes through and surprises you with something that you think, wow, I've never seen that actor do that. And so I guess it's a mixture of freedom and control in a way. The challenge of an actor's career is to try and keep stretching and keep growing and keep doing things that are new and exciting and never get stuck in a rut, you know, because then you are trapped. You're trapped by a typecasting. And imagine if I always played the bad guy for the next 30 years, then I really would be unfree. I'd be limited. But great question. Yeah.
You have the freedom to do what you want and make what you want. But do you ever feel like you are ruled in some way? Do you feel like your decisions are, there are rulings behind some of your decisions?
Yeah, I mean, nobody who works in Hollywood or lives in America isn't at the mercy of something large, and it's very convenient to just sort of let your life be led that way and not to question it and not to stand up for yourself. Sometimes it's enormously difficult to stand up for yourself, and I feel that that's something about our culture that genuinely frightens me. You know, Big Brother will not be imposed upon us by an evil government. Big Brother will be available in stores, and people will go and get it.
I thought I didn't qualify. Apparently I'm, what is it, volatile, self-obsessed, and don't play well with others.
Obviously, you carried the greatest wallet of all time in Pulp Fiction. It was the greatest wallet ever. And I just love the characters that you've played, and there's been so many badass characters that you've played over the years. I want to ask you, looking at the other characters, what other characters, including Nick Fury, would be worthy of carrying that wallet?
Be worthy. Shaft.
Yes.
Elijah.
Yes.
From Unbreakable. I don't know, maybe Mitch Hennessy in Long Kiss Goodnight. Just because he thinks he's bad.
Yes. Dude, when you're driving to the car, like, bleeding to death and, like, saying mother effer, I was like, this is so awesome. Now, would I be worthy of carrying the bad mother effer wallet?
I don't know. You gotta show me a resume. Everybody has one of those but me.
I want you to, isn't that awesome?
It's the one that says,
Bad mother.
they'll be bleeping that in DC.
Yes.
I think they need a timeout.
How desperate are you? And you call on such lost creatures to defend you.
You have made me very desperate.
We're not a team. We're a time bomb.
Now, I truly think you have the greatest job in the world, and it's amazing that you get to be all these great characters and then kind of go back to being yourself on a daily basis. I'm sure it's just an incredible experience for you, and you've had a great career. Hypothetically, if you could be one of your characters in real life for one day, who would it be and why?
That's pretty bizarre. That's a lot of them. You know, well, actually, you know, if I had to be one of my characters for one day, it'd probably be Mace Windu.
Yes.
Yeah. So I could, you know, just kind of be all galactical, have my lightsaber do a little damage, you know, to some things that I want to damage right now, and sort of be all-knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, for geeks like me, we geek out. What is something that makes you geek out? What does Sam Jackson geek out about?
Yeah, I'm a golf nut, so I geek out on golf things, you know,
Yeah.
holding ones, excellent shots, you know, holding out from the fairway, chipping in, you know, ordinary stuff. But I also geek out when I go to the comic book store when, you know, an issue that I've been waiting for is there.
Yeah.
And I can get my hands on it and I can finally read it.
nothing we were ever trained for.
You know, I have to say, one of the interesting things about your character is that he is asleep for so long, and he wakes up years later, all of his friends and family, everyone's dead. And you have to kind of have this eye-opening experience. And I want to ask you, literally, yeah, no pun intended. As actors, what was that moment for you when you realized when you got into this business? What was that eye-opening moment for you?
Oh, man. I was probably from the beginning pretty aware of the frailty of it all and the sort of how, you know, tough it is to get a job. I mean, you know, and each time I guess you're employed, it's like, yes. And I honestly can say, like, you know, landing this was the biggest thing ever. But if I went back and, you know, I remember the first ever role I got was, you know, on this little small TV show called The Saddle Club, and it was, you know, about 3 girls who had horses, and I was this young vet, and it was my first job, and I remembered, like, you know, that was the biggest thing in my life at the time, you know, and you know, this is a little different to 3 girls, you know, who own a pony club.
Yeah, just a little different. What was that moment, the eye-opening moment for you?
When I was 17 in high school, I moved from Boston to New York City, and I interned at a casting office. I wrote, you know, 50 letters just saying I want to learn, and a couple places wrote back. So I got an internship for the summer working at a casting office for the show Spin City, back when Michael J. Fox was on it. And during that summer, you know, they on Monday or Friday, they'd send out a breakdown for an audition. You know, we need a janitor. By Monday, I'd come into my office and I'd see the desk, and there would be a stack of envelopes for submissions, for actors, from agencies, for this role. My boss would come in, pick out 2 envelopes from the agencies she knew, and I would take this entire stack and throw them away. I threw them away in the trash. And you're just like, man, this is such a difficult business.
Yeah.
And then even of the envelopes she picked, and the actors that we called into audition, there's, you know, 20, 30 actors for this one-line role. Even that is grind, and you just realize this is a challenge. This isn't going to be an easy road.
You got nerd tears?
Dude,
Were you just laughing hard? You were crying?
Oh, no, I wasn't laughing. I just geeked out. Like my brain didn't know how to comprehend the epicness of how awesome that was. So I started crying. I was just like, okay.
Oh, that's so rad.
Yeah, it was just badass.
That's awesome.
That's Whedon.
So badass.
Love the
Whedon
nerd
at
tears.
his genius.
Congratulations to you both. Cheers.
Thanks, man.
Nerd tears are streaming down my face.
Oh, that's great, man.
Nerd tears. Yeah, I literally was flipping. Sickest things I've ever seen in my entire life. I legitimately had like nerd tears just streaming down my face.
Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.